Hello again from Skip Victor Echo 6 Bravo Golf Tango. There's a group of hams out of Europe that wanted to do some 9cm work. No contest, just to see who could get together and make some contacts on this band. So I thought I would join in and see what I could do. Unfortunately, the moon has such high declination that by the time the European window opened for me, I was still looking into the trees, dragging a dish on the ground, so signals weren't too good. And then the European window closed on me, so didn't work too many stations. With the high declination, all the dish did was climb straight up, and you can see it was just lined up perfectly with that set of huge poplar trees there. Bush is pretty thick in there, so I had a lot of ground noise to contend with. Even my echoes were really down compared to what I'm used to. Eventually, the azimuth came around and it cleared the bushes there and things got a lot stronger, but by then I was by myself. So to get back on track here, this is more about getting things set up and some modifications I had to do to get everything ready and so on. It was all fun. So a few days earlier I had to do some work on the power supply. There were some changes in it I need to do. Plus it was configured right now for running a 6cm amplifier at 51 volts. This 9cm needs it to be set at 32 volts. One thing I needed to repair or change was the switching MOSFET on this DC switch that's in behind the panel of the power supply. This is the fault disconnect switch that if one of the pass transistors was a short out, I would get like 70 to 80 volts DC coming from the main rectifier, and there's a detect circuit which tells this MOSFET to open up and prevents the voltage from going out. It's not so much a concern with the 9cm configuration because it's a much lower voltage, but on for the 6 centimeters, which is at 50 volts regulated, it's much higher, and it took this switch out and didn't prevent the voltage from going out the last time I used it. So I have a new MOSFET to put in there, which is good for 90 volts, so it'll fix it up. So that's one of the things I had to do, is get that swapped out. So with the new part replaced, I hooked it back up and readjusted the taps on the transformer and set it for 32 volts, and then next was to do a load test just to make sure everything's hunky-dory. This is where this new load tester I built really shines. It's a treat to test these things this way. I usually take up to about 20 amps. The 9cm amplifier only draws about 10 or 12 at the most, so I just want to make sure everything's working before I haul it outside. Thing's kind of heavy. You don't want to carry it all the way out there and find out later it's not working. One more thing I wanted to do before I hauled the feed out to the dish was change some code in the controlling PIC of the feed itself. This shows the my PIC programming computers connected over to the 9cm feed, plugged in the back with that DB9 connection. Power is fed into the feed control circuit through this universal test box I have here. It plugs into the back of all my feeds, and I can switch various functions on and off with it. Anyways, all I need is a 12 volts to run the PIC control inside it. This change is actually another safety feature. If that FET switch I changed in the power supply was to still fail and short out and feed too much voltage up into the amplifier, the PIC control circuit would detect this and send the fault signal back to the sequencer and shut everything down, so there's no way that voltage would ever make its way into the amplifier itself. So just a few lines of code to change, and that's all there was to it. So it was the next day, and time to haul things outside. So first was a power supply install out at the dish. I wheeled this power supply out with the dolly cart there. It's not that bad in weight, it's just that it's awkward, and in the frame of the dish here, it's a bit of a challenge to get it lifted up and hooked into the mounting slots. It just hooks onto a slot and just hangs there against the dish frame itself. Good place to mount it. I didn't want to leave it on the ground, especially in the summertime. It might rain or something. Here it's protected. two cords that plug into the dish circuit. One's the actual, we'll call it high voltage DC, and the other one's the control line, which turns the power supply on and off remotely from inside the shack. Loop cords have amphenol connectors, and they just merely plug into the side of the, we'll call it the main enclosure of the dish circuit itself. The amplifier DC voltage interfaces into it here. It goes through various terminal strips and then finally up to the flexible conduit, up the dish, and up to the feed point, where it plugs into the feed assembly, whichever one's going to be hooked up there. Next is the feed assembly itself. I took it out to the garage, and first thing I got to do is hook up the new improved cooling exhaust port on it so the warm air can get out of the plastic cover. It's probably not so bad in the cooler winter weather here, but in the summertime this made a massive difference of keeping the amplifier cooler instead of the hot air being all trapped inside the plastic wraparound cover, and now it gets out of there and the amplifier runs cooler. It's a little tricky getting the plastic weather cover on there. It's just a matter of holding your tongue right and using your hands just in the right way. I have these specially built 1" by 1/8" aluminum straps that bolt down onto the feed mounting plate and pinches or holds the plastic in place. You can see the special markings in there which show me, well, left and right of course, but there's also markings for the focal point where the feed was originally best optimized for when it was first built. So it's all on there. It's just got to be hooked up and screwed down and ready to go for both sides. So the 9-centimeter feed is ready to go up on the dish, but I didn't remove the 23-centimeter one from last time, so first things first. So after getting the elevator ready, I had to take the dish and swing it all the way around from its park position and get it lined up so I can go up the elevator and take the feed off. I think we'll speed things up here a little bit just to save time on the video. Hate to see you guys get bored on this. Then up we go, one more time. I'm going to speed things up again. I'm fighting with some red electrician's tape that just holds the plastic weather cover on the feed. It seems to work. It's the easiest thing to do. I've yet to come up with a better idea. It's fun going up here and doing all this if the weather is nice like it is today. It was about 6 degrees positive centigrade, which is very unusual for this time of year, so I took advantage of it. I have the manual control box to steer the dish in azimuth and elevation just so I can reposition it to get it to both sides of the feed. It's the easiest way to do it. On this 23 centimeter feed, there is only one control line where some of the other feeds have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 control lines. So it's this is a simple one. This feed has such a large scalar ring that it won't fit through the feed mount on the dish, so I got to pull it out to the front side, I guess we'll call it, towards the dish. And I'm kind of leaning way out there, but it's not that dangerous. I'm careful. This feed with the smaller IMU launcher, it slides in from the back, so there's no leaning out past the elevator. Much easier to put in. We'll speed things up again here a little bit. This is going to take a while. And this is right where my camera ran out of memory, so it shut down. Got it all, though, so that's all there is. So everything's mounted and it looks good, so I guess it's time to wrap it up out here and head inside. This picture here, you can see the new amplifier cooling exhaust duct just underneath the plastic there. Kind of a neat angle. So the outside work done, it's back into the shack. Got things running here for the 9 centimeter configuration, and I think the first thing we're probably going to do is check the termination resistor on the feed against the noise figure meter, just to make sure that part of it's working first. Video sure seems like it's on a weird angle. That's kind of strange. Okay, the sequencer switched over to manual, and I got the noise meter zeroed out on cold sky. Going to switch it over to the resistor and see what it says. 6 dB increase over cold sky. That's what I have recorded, and that's what I usually see. So I would say everything's working. So next is to key the transmitter up and make sure the amplifier out in the feed is drawing some current and we get some output power. Sequencer still in manual mode, and it's indicating disabled. Here, I just switched it over to full auto, so here we go. Just keyed it, and looks good. We got 6 to 7 amps on each of the amplifiers, and somewhere in the area of 123 watts. So far, it looks good. So one more test. You can see on the screen here that the moon is still negative 11 degrees, so got lots of time. Want to check the frequency against on the spectrum analyzer, and then look at the data from the power supply out there. Transmitting again, and you can see the total current is 12.3 amps. That's the two separate amplifier devices combined, so it's looking good. Voltage, temperature, everything looks good. So we're on frequency on the scope. We are good to go. So I waited for the moon to come up, and it finally started coming above the horizon, but with a high declination. I was looking into the trees for the longest time and didn't have much luck. This picture, you can see through the closed-circuit television camera that the bushes and the trees I was looking through, and it was going to be like this for a long time, so I knew it wasn't going to be very good. Made a schedule with Ron, Delta United 3 Tango in the Philippines, to see if we could make a contact on 9 centimeters, which would be the first Philippines to Canada connection on 9 centimeters. So we got up early and gave it a whirl. The dish was now aiming way off into the west for the Asian window, and much quieter, so I could use the noise detection meter here to peek on the moon. This is a shortened video of it all. I did a lot of peeking back and forth, but this is the maximum. Just a hair over 0.9 of a dB increase from the cold sky noise. So, and this is what I've had before, so I knew we were doing good. So finally, going to make a contact here. I did a quick echo test and proceeded in calling Delta United 3 Tango. Then at this point, for some stupid reason, I turned the speaker off. I forgot that I was recording this, so it's in my headphones for the time being, so I'll just quickly go through this. He was in there, but he was very weak. I could almost make him out. Then this happened. Here it is, like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, and the signal's coming over my auto start channel off the internet from my stupid teletype. And it starts hammering away. I could shut the machine off, but I can't turn the tones off because it's coming through a Raspberry Pi, so I just let it run. And this is where my phone camera died. It ran out of memory. But we did carry on and made a decent contact of it all. So, like I said, the first VE to Delta United contact on 9 centimeters. That was a laugh. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. Thanks for watching. 73s again from Skip, Victor Echo 6, Bravo, Golf, Tango.